of New York and New Jersey. They are very proud of the work they've done towards sustainability, green fleets, and all of that. And then Mark's going to tell us about it.
Thank you, Jim. So the Port Authority was founded in 1921 as an act of Congress between the two states. It is a entity that maintains and operates several of the area's large transportation hubs, including 5 airports, 2 tunnels, 4 bridges, obviously the 2 ports, Port Newark and Brooklyn Port Authority, and the path system, the World Trade Center site, and of course the bus terminal, which everyone unfortunately knows us for. The Port District extends 25-mile radius around the Statue of Liberty, which is shown by this oddly drawn orange line on the map that incorporates all of our facilities and our jurisdiction for work. Central Automotive, which is the part of the agency that I am a part of, is essentially a vehicle and equipment leasing company for the agency. The electrical department needs a truck, they come to us, we design it, we give them what they need. Currently, we have a fleet of about 3,000 pieces of equipment that are owned by the Port Authority. Not all of them are owned and operated by the Port Authority. They are what's known as our shadow fleet. We'll get into that in a little bit. We have said many times we do not have the biggest fleet in the world, but we probably have one of the most diverse, ranging from simple rack body trucks to heavy snow removal equipment that we use on the airport runways, to our new fleet of electric buses that are traveling around JFK, Newark, and LaGuardia Airport. We have our own small little navy of police boats to patrol the areas around our ports and our airports for LaGuardia and JFK, and our own airport firefighting teams, which is displayed in the larger picture on the bottom. We're currently trying to have our fingers in just about everything in terms of renewable or cleaner energy, from compressed natural gas to biodiesel, obviously regular gasoline or flex fuel, and then we are now pushing hard in the solar and electric divisions. Our fleet, again, so we have 2,600 assets that the Port Authority owns, operates, and maintains. We have 7 automotive shops spread out throughout the Port District. And then we have our shadow fleet, which is approximately 500 vehicles, which include our buses, our refueling vehicles that are at the airports, which are owned by the Port Authority, but operated and maintained by outside contractors. In addition to that, we have 12 on-site fueling stations and 156 brand new EV charging ports, which will be expanding in the next 5 years as we purchase more electric vehicles. We currently have a team of engineering staff of 7 people that either purchases or write specifications for replacement vehicles on a cycle to keep our fleet as safe and reliable as possible. We've just instituted a telematics program to track idle hours and make sure that our vehicles are being operated at their best, making sure that people aren't driving around with check engine lights, stuff like that. Our sustainability supervisor, who has been at the forefront of helping us win the 2016 and 2019 Green Fleet Awards, just started, I believe, in 2015, once the Green Fleet system really started to take off. And we have 110 total mechanics working on all of our assets. In addition to buying new vehicles, we are heavy into testing of new components. We actually have a Mac running completely on bio-based fluids at the George Washington Bridge. We're doing a test run, and it's actually been about 1.5 years, where we drained every type of fluid out of that vehicle and replaced it with a soybean or bio-based product. We have not seen any additional wear to that, and we are in the proving stages where we're hoping to actually be able to roll this out to the entire fleet. Because obviously with 2,600 vehicles, we are going through a lot of oil, a lot of hydraulic oils, and would be much better suited if we were using bio-based products, so they would be renewable. We're also in develop or practice of testing idle management systems from 0 RPM, stealth power, and we're trying to see what we can do to reduce the high amount of idle hours on our fleet. We are a low mileage, high idle type of fleet where guys will drive out to a site, be working there all day, they'll have their lights on, radios, so the vehicle will need to be running to maintain all of the emergency lighting and the radios so they can talk to one another. But obviously there's engines sitting there idling, so we're wasting fuel and unfortunately putting adverse effects on the engines, because most engines do not like to sit there and idle all day long. So by working on that, we're hoping to reduce our greenhouse gases emissions and save on maintenance. We are currently working with biosynthetic oils. They are a fully bio-based oil that meet SAE standards. And we will be instituting a test in July between for 5W20 and 5W30 motor oils in some of our police fleet to see how we could wind up saving on greenhouse, or not greenhouse, but pollutants into the environment. We are also currently working to get completely renewable diesel into the area. This is something that has started out in California as R99, which is 99% renewable diesel. Obviously a large step forward from the B20s that we are running right now. The only two places on the East Coast that are attempting to do this would be the Port Authority and actually Disney World. So we're in good company with Disney World trying to roll this out. But the largest issue right now is being the fact that we're one of the only two people on the East Coast is getting the product here to test. Most products are delivered to the New York area via pipeline, and the pipeline isn't going to run a 10,000 gallon unit through the pipeline, because then they're going to have to change things out. It's not a high enough volume for it to matter for them. The last completed test that we just wound up finishing is soy-based tires, where they are replacing the petroleum products in the rubber with soy, obviously to help out our farmers in the Midwest. And we were testing to make sure that we still have the same stopping power, same acceleration rates, to prove the fact that we were getting the proper amount of grip from the tires, so we weren't losing any performance by going to a soy-based product. Pretty extensive test. We wound up putting it on, I want to say, about 50 different vehicles at different stages of their lives, doing acceleration tests, brake tests, different weather, and we're very happy with the results, to the point where we have now rolled it out on our entire police fleet. So got that. Telematics is something obviously a lot of people have been into for a while. The Port Authority has just started to adopt this last year or so. We've created a position to actually manage it and create dashboards so we can actually find out what's going wrong with our fleet and see if it's something we could be preventing. It's also helping us capture vehicle utilization, making sure that we don't have assets that are sitting around rotting away before they're actually being used. In addition to that, we're using this to prove whether or not an electric vehicle is a viable option. If we have a vehicle that is being used every day, but on the max it's driving 20-30 miles, that is an easy candidate go for an electric vehicle. So we're using telematics for several different reasons, and we're getting some very good data from it. We've recently started using Geotab and have been able to work towards actually being able to present our clients with usable data on why we believe they'll be able to use an electric vehicle. So in 2019, we were ranked #1 in government fleets for Green Fleet. Our current initiative, by 2023, we plan on having 650 light-duty electric vehicles in our fleet. Of that right now, we currently have 120 and 18 battery electric airport buses in service. We have another 18 actually on order that'll be here before the end of the summer. So about 50% of our bus fleet will have gone from diesels and diesel hybrids to fully electric, reducing again our greenhouse gases as we are trying to keep in line with the Paris Climate Agreement. We're currently projecting to be purchasing approximately 140 electric vehicles every year until 2023. Kind of in a little bit of a holding pattern right now, obviously because of COVID, and GM was supposed to be releasing their new version of a SUV. Besides the Hummer, they are working on a iteration of the Bolt, which will compete with the EV Mustang. So that way we can provide our clients with an electric vehicle that will have some type of ground clearance, obviously with the snow and whatnot in the Port District. In 2019, we have purchased obviously the Chevrolet Bolt, the Chrysler Pacifica. We are one of the first agencies in the area to have hybrid police vehicles. The Ford Police Interceptor is hitting the ground right now from Ford. We had a slight delay, obviously, due to COVID, but those vehicles will be hitting the streets next 2-3 months. We have hybrid bucket trucks, which are kind of an attack towards what we were talking about earlier with the high idles, where a company, Alltech Bucket Trucks, has developed in tandem with a company, GEMS, where the vehicle will be able to operate with the engine off, where the engine will be off and you could still be working in the bucket, maintaining poles or electrical work. Besides the greenhouse benefits of this, we're getting, when we ran our test pilot before we purchased 7 of these vehicles, the end users were so happy because they could actually talk to the guys on the ground without screaming because the engines aren't running. And 90% of the time when you're up in a bucket truck anyways, you position yourself, you're there for the day working. You don't need the engine running. So this is a huge huge fuel saver and a huge hour saver on the clocks. And obviously researching into more heavy duty vehicles, they are slow to market right now. Kenworth just released a Class 7 cab over chassis that will be full electric, hopefully by the end of the year. And Freightliner is working on it as well. BYD currently has a Class 6 and Class 8 chassis that we are testing to see if it will fit into our need case. And hopefully, I believe our plan is to eventually have the entire fleet, or as close to the entire fleet, electric as possible. We don't have a timeline on that, but obviously the more the better because we're saving more fuel. And more of the same in the pipeline. The 18 additional buses ordered from Proterra, and I believe 8 of them have actually already been delivered. We will have the entire order of 18 delivered before the end of the summer and in service, just to continue reducing our carbon footprint as much as possible. And thank you for joining today. That's all I've got for you. Any questions, I'm more than happy to help. Thank you.
Well, Mark, thank you very, very much. Bring on. There we go. Do we have any questions from anybody? You have any thoughts or comments on this?
I have a question.